Hello and welcome to some Canvas training on embedding, hyperlinking, and using the Rich Content Editor. My name is Dan Harold. I'm a teacher at the Baldwin-Whitehall School District. We've been using Canvas for about 2 years. This presentation is designed for people that are really just getting into Canvas for the first time. If you're a Canvas veteran and you have a pretty solid workflow, you're welcome to watch, but this presentation might not be for you. The slides can be accessed at any time, and the link will be on every slide down below, bit.ly/BWPD Canvas throughout the presentation. So let's get started. So when you think about it, when you think about your day-to-day teaching, there's probably a certain set of tools that you need, right? You need to be able to tell the students what they need to do. You need to be able to post the content. And so I like to think about it like a box of crayons, right? You want to have a certain number of colors. The problem is Canvas is this, right? It's hundreds of colors. It's hundreds of options. And for a lot of people, when they first start, it can be a bit overwhelming. In fact, it's so overwhelming that some people simply choose to just use one of the many tools, and they really leave out everything else. What this presentation is hopefully going to help you with is what's the best way to use some of the tools to get the work done the quickest, to get the information out to students, to build pages quickly using content that you have already made. I mean, as a result, with Canvas, some people can feel overwhelmed. They feel a little bit like this, but I think Bob Ross taught us this is the only way that you should feel with a Canvas. So let's get started. What are we talking about today? Basic stuff, just uploading images, general formatting. We're going to talk about hyperlinks in Google Docs with pages, assignments, or announcements. And then we're going to look a little bit about embedding documents, and so on. This assignment, this presentation assumes that you know a little bit about Google Docs and that you know a little bit about just general computer function. So let's start with the basics. When you go to make an announcement, a page, or an assignment, you're going to be met with basically a big blank screen, which for some reason is almost a little bit more overwhelming than something that's a little bit more fill in the blank. So if you take a look at your top bar there, you can do a couple basic things. You can insert an image by using the icon over here. Looks like a picture. You can insert other media using the Insert tab, and of course you can modify your text and your content. There's a couple other things that you can do. You can use images already found in your course. So let's say, for example, you've already uploaded a picture and you want to use it again. You don't have to upload the new one again. It's already saved in Canvas for you. And there's another way you can link to stuff already in Canvas. I'm going to show you what those look like in just a second. So let me switch over to a demo. I'm going to pull up my Canvas page. So this is my science fiction course, and I'm just going to open a blank announcement. So announcements, pages, and assignments look exactly the same. So there's really not a lot of options for font, right? You can change the size, you can change the heading type, you can do bold and underline, and etc., and all these fun things here. But let's go into some of the other elements on the side here. The first thing you might want to do is upload an image. If you happen to have an image on your desktop, you can just go ahead and click and upload that. But let's go to course images. Right, so this class, I have a couple images already in the system. So let's say, this picture I want to upload directly in. I can just click that, and if it's a file, if it's an image that I've used over and over again, it's a really nice option just to be able to throw something in there pretty quickly. Other options. You can record media. So let's say for your announcement you'd rather just talk. I can go ahead and click record, and it brings up me. Right now you can see two of me in this presentation. Sometimes it's really nicer just to put an actual video of yourself right there in the presentation. No need for an outside tool. Okay, you can also upload a document similar to how you would upload an image. So pretty easy stuff up here. A lot of you, if you've dealt with computers before, you've probably already seen this kind of stuff. I'm probably not showing you anything new. One last thing that's interesting, if you want to link, obviously you can do an external link, which we're going to be using a lot today. You just paste your hyperlink in here to a Google Doc or a web page. But another nice thing is you can use a course link. So let's say, for example, I want to tell students, hey, today we're going to be working on a specific assignment that we've already made. I can just click that assignment, and it puts that link to that assignment right there in the presentation. Really nice time-saving tool. So that's just a little bit about the opening bar that you use to make content. So let's talk about what you actually want to make in Canvas though, because a lot of us are coming into Canvas and we've already been using something. I know for my district, we had used Google Classroom for multiple years. We have had Google Drive. That's where all of our content is. And so when it came time to actually make Canvas pages, it became a little frustrating and a little daunting. After all, we had already spent all this time making the Google Classroom work. Now we're going to be asked to essentially do the same thing again. Where do we start? How do we make sure that we don't lose content when we switch from system to system to system? So here's some issues I want to throw out there. Number one, Canvas, as you notice, even though it's very new, it has a lot of tools. It uses very old technology when it comes to designing and using rich content, right? This has been around for decades. It's not the user-friendly pre-made stuff you're used to seeing in generators, right? Canvas does require manual changes to content every time that you change it, right? Every time that the content changes, you have to go ahead in there and make those changes. And secondly, let's imagine that your district someday chooses to move away from Canvas. You're going to lose all that content. So how do you solve this problem? Well, to me, the biggest way you can solve this problem is by simply hyperlinking or embedding, right? You've already made a whole bunch of content, whether it's Google Slides or Google Docs, or maybe it's Word documents, etc. And so a really great way to really quickly make pages and make assignments and make announcements is simply link and embed what you have already done. This preserves the formatting that you've already done. You don't have to worry about using Canvas's rich content editor in order to make those changes. Automatically syncs, so you make a change to the assignment, it'll automatically change the page, and it takes everything with you, right? You own the Google Docs, you have them on hand, and so you keep them. So if you look over at this picture here is the course syllabus page that I made. It literally took me 2 minutes to put together because I already had the syllabus done, and all I did is add in a link, added an embed, and boom, I had a syllabus page ready to go. I did not have to copy paste, I did not have to retype, I did not have to reformat. So I assume most of you have already done this, but just in case you haven't, how do you do this? Well, if you want to hyperlink in Google Docs, you go to the blue share button in the top. You click here to copy the link to it. Make sure that your share settings are what you want. Then you go to Canvas and you highlight the text that you want to link. So here's, for example, click here for the full Google Doc. And you're going to hit Control-K on your keyboard or Command-K on your Mac. Again, this is very basic computer stuff, but for some people it is new. After that, this menu will pop up. You'll paste the link in and you're done. The way I like to do it is make it so the document is view only. That way when students open it, they can't mess it up, and all they have to do is go to File, make a copy, and they have a copy for themselves. So let me just show you a quick demo of that if you haven't seen it. And if you have seen it, it's something you can zip through. So let's imagine I'm doing an assignment on the annotated bibliography, right? I want to share this with students. So I hit the blue button, I hit Copy Link, anyone on the internet can view, and then I'm going to go to Canvas and type click here for the link. I'm going to hit Command-K on my Mac. I'm going to paste the link right here and done. Boom. Now if I wanted to, I could paste this, right? This could be a page, this could be an announcement, or this could be a module. But that looks pretty terrible, right? I don't think that we want to post this because that doesn't really look all that appealing. And so the other thing I like to do in addition to hyperlinking is embed. And so let's go back to the slides for a second so I can show you how that works. Embedding. Now there's two ways to embed. The first way is to just use Canvas's tools. It's called auto embedding, right? So you might have noticed this plug option a little bit earlier. What I can do is click the plug. It'll ask me, what source I want to use. It has a couple that are built in. It has a couple others you can search for and add. So Google Drive and YouTube are usually the go-to. So let's say I click Google Drive. I'll click the actual thing I want to embed, and it puts it right in the document for me. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's go back to my assignment that I started here. I'm going to click the plug right here. I've already got Google and YouTube set because I've used them before. The first time you do it, you'll need to search for them. But I'll hit Google Drive. It's going to pull up a window asking me to verify who I am. And it's going to pull up a list of my recent elements. So I'm going to click right here, annotated bibliography, and boom. right there. So in just seconds that you've watched here, I've made a page. Everything is preserved from the content that I've already made. It's set, it's ready to go. And if I wanted to, I could add a few more directions up here, but really all the directions are found down below. If this were an assignment, all I'd have to do is go into the actual assignment tools and tweak a few things, and I'd be ready to launch this out. So this is a great way to save time, to quickly make pages, to quickly make announcements, and to quickly make assignments. However, there's another way to embed, a way that gives you a little bit more control. The way I just showed you is automatic. It only took about 3 clicks, and you don't need to know HTML script. But it does kind of depend that you use Canvas's UI and a little bit less flexibility if you don't know HTML. So I want to show you how to do it a different way. It's called manual embedding. This is just a great tool to know. HTML code has been around forever. Decades, 50 years perhaps at this point. Requires a few extra steps, but does give you a little bit more control on things like size and formatting. So let's imagine you want to embed a document manually. To do this, what you do is you go to the document itself, you go to File, Publish to Web, you get the embed code, you hit down here to switch to HTML mode, you paste the HTML code, and if you're using slides, it's automatic, right? You just paste it in there. If you're using docs, though, you need to make a change. And I know this is a video that I'm moving rather quickly through. You can always pause and go back. But when you put in a document, you need to add this specific text right here: width equals 100%, height equals 700. And you add it right before the letters SRC. And again, check out the slides if you need this again. Go back on the video if you need this again. But you have to add this very specific thing in, and I'll show you why when I do the demo. Once you've done that, you switch back to manual mode, and boom, your document is embedded. So Google Slides, exactly the same thing. I'll show you that in the demo as well. So let me show you what this looks like. So I want to delete this for a second, right? So we can do this manually. So let's say I want to embed a document manually. I go to the document, the annotated bibliography. I go to Publish to Web. I click Embed, and I get the embed code. So I'm going to copy that. Now when I get back, if I paste it here, it doesn't do anything. It's just text. I need to go to the HTML version. So I've already got some stuff here. I always just like to go to a new line. I paste it in. Now here's what happens if I don't modify the text. You'll notice how it's all small. You can barely see it. It's in a real small container here. That is not what you want. So what I have to do is do a little modification. I find the letters SRC and I type width equals 100%. In other words, I want it to take up 100% of the page. And then height equals, I like 700. That's just the number of pixels. You could do 800, 900. You could do less, but 700 is a good amount. When I click this to go back, you'll notice this document is fully embedded, right? Pretty nice. And the nice thing I like about manual embeds is that it doesn't have that frame around it, right? It looks like this document is really just a part of the page. So there you go, another way to make a page almost instantly. I can do the same thing with Google Slides. Let me delete this for a second and go back. Let's imagine that I want to use this actual presentation, right? So I will go to my embedding one. I'll go to the same thing, Publish to Web. Slides works a little bit easier. You can decide how big you want it to be, small, medium, large. Let's say small. I get the embed code right here. I go back, HTML, and paste. And there we go, right? And so what I like to do with this is a great way to put your presentation, let's say you're doing slides for the day. You can just link your slides directly in an announcement, directly in an assignment, and students have access to all of the slides that you've been working on. So excellent tool there. Go back to my presentation and continue. So what are the cons to this? You do need to know a little bit of HTML, but the pros are that once you know a little bit of HTML, you can use this tool in lots and lots and lots of different areas. Canvas is not the only one that uses HTML. Great way to embed and hyperlink throughout multiple areas. So a couple final tips and tricks. Again, I'm assuming that you are just now getting into Canvas for the first time. And a lot of people coming to Canvas for the first time are coming from Google Classroom, or as we've noticed, they're coming just from Google Docs. And so what we found at our district is a lot of people were making assignments, but they were making Google assignments. They were using a third-party element to put their presentations together, to put their assignments together. This can have a benefit, and I'll show you what that is in a few minutes, but it also has a pretty significant cost. It requires a number of extra clicks. It can get a little bit confusing on the grading end, and just adds those few extra seconds per student. What I want to suggest is that when you make an assignment, you use Canvas's built-in tools. You click online and you give students multiple options of how they want to submit it. This gives you a little bit more flexibility in grading, and it gives them a little bit more flexibility in how they turn it in. So let me show you what this looks like for a second. So let's delete this announcement. I don't actually want to post it. And let's go to assignments. So I'm going to open a brand new assignment, and I'll have my test assignment up here. And I would put the content in here, of course, but that's really not what we're worried about today. Down below, I have some decisions to make. Of course, the number of points you want. But here's where some people get a little bit sidetracked. If I go to external tool, what a lot of people do is they go down to Google, and they go down to Google Drive Cloud Assignments or Google Assignments. There's pros and cons to each one. So say if I put this in here, this is, again, not what I would recommend. But you can make a Google assignment. And what this is it kind of lets students turn in things not really through Canvas, but through Google. Now, there's two benefits to this. If you're doing a large paper that you want to check for plagiarism, use this. If you're doing a large paper that you want to mark up, right, you want to go through and make comments all over the place, just like you would on a physical paper, use this. And I did this a couple times this year. We had a large 20-page paper kids had to turn in, and so I used Google Assignments. Great tool. But it does have a couple of flaws. It requires about 3 clicks to get to the actual place where you grade. Once you submit the feedback, it takes a couple clicks to send that feedback back to the overall project. And it really just slows down the whole process. And so it's a great tool for certain types of assignments. The one I want to recommend for most of you is Click Online. Text entry allows kids to type directly in, great for when they just have a quick response. Website URLs, a great way for them to send a link to their Google Docs. Media recording is a way for them to actually record themselves talking. Sometimes this is much better than something in writing, maybe a skill that you want to work on. And file uploads. Let's say you don't use Google Docs, you could actually have them upload a Google Doc there as well. Down below, you need to set the due date, etc., and save and publish. But do consider the online version. And let me show you what this looks like on the student's end. Let me open up a blank project. So we're going to get one that hasn't been submitted yet. But when you go to grade and you're not using Google, it's real simple. You get this menu called Speed Grader. Now, in theory, the student's project will be right here in the center. And on the side, you can simply leave overall comments as much as you want. And what you can also do is click here, and you can leave a video comment of yourself. And this is a really nice feature. Sometimes it's almost superior to typing, but you can give every student, hello again, a video comment as you go. Maybe a little bit cumbersome if you have 143 kids to get through, but especially those where sections where you only have a few, great way to get in there as well. So that's about all I wanted to show you today. This was designed for people that are just getting into Canvas. This is designed to show you the way to set up some pages rather quickly, to give you a couple tips and tricks on making assignments. And just remember, anytime you're using an LMS, LMSs are really solid. Maybe you'll be with Canvas for 10 years, maybe more. Maybe you'll only be with it for a few years, but you want to make sure that you have a good way to set yourself up quickly, get student feedback, get content out there, and then be able to modify and continue those assignments as you go. My name is Dan Harold. I'm a teacher at Baldwin High School. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I hope my email address and contact info is posted along with this. I hope this has been insightful for you, and if you have something to add, I look forward to hearing from you as well. Have a good one.